Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. We talk about the problems people face in their day to day lives. Let's start with the video. My husband ends our marriage of 10 years without giving any apparent reason. I was heartbroken, but accepted it as he fell out of love, and it might be best to let him go. But then I got a call from my brother who told me that my husband had a baby that I did not give birth to. I spam my BFF, Megan, about the whole thing, crying about how devastated I am because of what my husband did. I had a big fight with her months ago when she moved to New York, too. But I thought that she would understand my need of a close friend right now, and I didn't know who else to talk to. I sigh with desperate relief when she responds to me with a text that said that she's in town and will meet me at my house in the evening. So while I'm waiting for my BFF to show up at my door with wine and pizza to give me some emotional support, she shows up with a baby in her arms. I asked her, "Whose baby is that?" And she gives me a look that says it all. She's the one my husband cheated with. Meg and I having problems that I thought were because of her always failing relationships, in reality were because of my healthy one with my husband. Now, after knowing that, I realized that the fight we had last month wasn't because I ditched her pool party, but was because I ditched it to surprise my husband with a trip to Utah. She didn't like me and him having fun and be happy. I wanted her to find someone good enough and fall in love, have a baby, and have it all. But my husband, she tells me that it happened sometime a year ago when I was out of town for 2 weeks because of work. She used to come over to watch over my cat and catch George, my husband, sometimes, and they just hit it off. She said she did end it before I came back from the trip, but then found out that she was pregnant with my husband's child and just couldn't give her kid a fatherless life. I felt so bad and betrayed by the two people I trusted with my life. And then she goes on to tell me that she told my husband that she would never let him see his son if he doesn't divorce me and comes to her. While I'm feeling like a bad friend for ditching her and making other plans with my husband and beating myself up about it, she was planning to steal my husband. I asked her if it was the reason she and I have been fighting a lot, because she was mad at me for being in love with my own husband. To which she says that she knew that he deserved better and she would have hid it from him for my sake, but she could see how bad he wanted a baby, and I was unable to give that to him despite so many years. She knew about our struggle with pregnancy and that my body cannot take giving birth. Me and my husband mutually decided to give trying for a child and live happily, but it was clearly not what he wanted. I looked at the baby and realized that my husband chose his child over me, since I couldn't give him one, and hated him for it. I cried and told her to leave, which she did without even as much as a sorry to me. There was no wine, no pizza. I lost two most important people in my life because of each other. It's been 2 years and I still haven't completely moved on from what happened between my husband and Megan, my best friend. They left the state and moved to New York a little over a month after my and George's divorce got final and we split the things. He took a new job in New York and they both left without a goodbye. While I've been in the same town at my same job. I go on dates sometimes, but it never works out. I look at their social media once in a while and curse her for stealing my life. She lives in a beautiful apartment and she named her son Christopher after one of her boyfriends that died in a car accident a few years ago. Yesterday I got mail from Megan, who is now marrying my ex-husband, inviting me to her wedding. I had seen their engagement on Instagram weeks ago and I controlled myself from commenting snake emojis all over her engagement post. But after receiving a wedding invite along with a letter that asked me to become her maid of honor, I lost all that control. She and I made a pact of being the maid of honor in each other's weddings when we were in high school. She was my maid of honor in my wedding to my now ex-husband. I still cannot believe that she did this with me and is now inviting me to her wedding as the maid of honor like everything is normal. Like she didn't steal my husband, my family, my life. I thought it would be best for me to not watch her celebrate the thing that caused me so much pain, so I trashed the wedding invite in the dustbin and went to work. When I came back from work, there was a parcel at the door. Meg sent me green bridesmaid dress to wear at her wedding. I took the dress in waiting to rip it to pieces and then sent those pieces back to her. But then I got a phone call and the caller ID read Megan Baker. I tried to ignore it, but then decided against it and picked up the phone. She had a lot to say, would be an understatement, as she started apologizing for everything she did and how she never wanted for me to get hurt. She told me some harsh things in that sweet coding way that I was so blinded by and self-centered that I couldn't see how unhappy George was in that marriage. It broke my heart hearing her call my love not enough or selfish. She said all she wants is to clear the bad air between us both and me and George too, that she is starting a new chapter of her life and she wants me to be in it. I was pretty sure all she wants is to clear her conscience because she is well aware of the fact that stealing your best friend's husband by getting pregnant with his baby is not what a good friend does. And she knows that I never would have done it with her. I wish I could be happy in that moment for her, but all I feel is rage and hate. So you guys tell me, what do I do? I really don't have it in me to forgive her and give her my blessing for this wedding of hers. Should I accept the wedding invite or not? It's the day after my ex-best friend Megan and my ex-husband George's wedding, which I did attend despite me hating them as much as I do. So I stole the show at the wedding of my ex-husband and my ex-BFF. She asked me to be the maid of honor in front of all her new friends, just as she was my maid of honor at my wedding in front of all our old friends. So I took this as a chance to give her what she deserved as a snake of a friend. I showed up to the wedding in my wedding dress, which she helped me pick all those years ago. She definitely didn't like what I was wearing and how the attention of the guests was more on me than her. I was a little surprised to know that none of her or George's family was at the wedding. It was just unfamiliar faces everywhere. I guess that all these guests have no insight of how these two came to be. I felt terrible that they didn't even care to mention it to their new friends about me. George didn't care to mention that there was someone else before, that there was me. So I started talking around to whoever asked me for a drink and showed curiosity at my wedding dress. I told them how it is the dress the bride helped me pick for my wedding with now her groom. She was not happy about me chit-chatting with her fancy friends, so as soon as the ceremony ended, she came to me saying, "Look, I know how the situation is, and I am so sorry how it turned out, but I love him, and we have beautiful family now. I want you to be a part of it. That is why I asked you to be my maid of honor, just like you promised you would be. You showing up in that wedding dress hurt, so the least you can do is be happy for me and not ruin my day by telling the guests our history. These people don't know what went down, and they don't need to know. Can you, as a wedding gift, give me at least that much?" I was shocked by her speech to me, and I gave her a nod. She seemed convinced. I could not believe that she had the audacity to ask me to not create a scene as a wedding gift in her wedding to my husband. I never would have dreamed of hurting her like this, but whatever happens now, she asked for it. I took the mic at the dinner and started the speech I have been drafting for 2 years now. My best friend of 16 years, we met in high school, went to proms together, with different boys, of course. We made a pact that we will be each other's maid of honor in our weddings. We kept it too. She was my maid of honor, and I am her maid of honor today in her wedding to her husband. I am sorry for showing up in my wedding dress, but I thought it would be the perfect thing since the bride herself helped me pick this for my wedding. She said I look the most beautiful in this, and it is also the dress the groom is his favorite dress that I own. So I had to wear your favorite dress to your wedding. Congratulations to my best friend on her wedding to my husband. I always knew you wanted every single thing that I had. My date to the senior prom, my boyfriend in college. I just didn't think you'd ever go as far as to take my husband too. I'm glad you're happy after breaking my family. Have a good married life." All the guests went whispering and gasping, and she started crying and cursing me. I was kicked out of the wedding, but I have no regrets for what I've done. Am I the a-hole for ruining her wedding? NTA, your friend and ex-husband deserved it after what they did with you. Your best friend is the actual AH. It's better to not have friends than having such snakes as friends. This is my 5th time trying to post this, so please bear with me. I'm 21-year-old female, my niece is 4, female, my brother-in-law is 30, male, and my sister is 28. From the minute my sister gave birth, she has been teaching her daughter consent, that she can say no to anything, that she is not obligated to do anything, etc. This has caused quite a few problems in her marriage because she doesn't make her daughter bond with her father. If her daughter doesn't want to see her father, my sister doesn't make her. This has caused my niece and her father to have little to no bond or relationship. This isn't from lack of trying on my brother-in-law's side. He has tried everything to bond with his daughter, but my sister shuts it down every time because my niece doesn't want to. My sister has a very strict rule that nobody is obligated to talk to, touch, or even look at my niece. This applies to every single person. I don't question it because who am I to question my sister's parenting? I'm also very respectful of this rule and have never broken it. Recently, she asked me if I would babysit for her while her and my brother-in-law went on a date. I told her if my niece says yes, I'll do it. But if she says no, I won't. My sister was okay with that. My sister brought my niece to my house and I asked her, my niece, if she wants me to babysit her. She says no. So I tell my sister that I will not babysit my niece. My sister gets mad and starts screaming at me and telling me I'm a horrible aunt. After all that was said and done, she left. Later on in the night, my parents call me and tell me my sister tattled on me to them. They are on my side and believe I did the right thing and took the best course of action. But I thought I'd come to get a second opinion. AITA for leading my sister on and not helping her in the end? I would like to start this update off by clearing some things up. My brother-in-law has put up with my sister's behavior for so long because of two reasons. One, he believes kids should be raised in a two-parents household. Two, he doesn't want to be seen as a failure and believes if he gets a divorce, that's what he will be seen as. The reason as to why nobody tries to talk some sense into my sister is because every time we try, it results in my sister going NC for a period of time. My niece hasn't started school yet and will be enrolled starting this fall. My parents don't want her to attend school. They say that she's okay at the moment. Now that those questions are cleared up, I'll start with the actual update. My parents and I sat my brother-in-law down and told him things needed to change for everyone's sake. We told him we would support him no matter what, and we would do everything we could to ensure that he wouldn't lose contact with his daughter. Our words must have shook something in him because that night he talked to my sister and said things have to change or he's going to file for divorce. This is the first time my brother-in-law has threatened divorce, so we know he wasn't bluffing. He must have been able to scare my sister enough because they have recently started couples counseling, family therapy, and individual therapy. My brother-in-law also has a separate therapy session with just him and my niece. My sister has started to see the errors in her ways and has started trying to change them. She has joined parenting classes and started reading parent books a lot. One rule that sticks was to no touching rule unless my niece says yes. My niece hasn't changed that much, but change doesn't happen overnight. We are all just hoping that she changes before she starts school in the fall. Her relationship with my brother-in-law has improved, but still isn't good or ideal. She acknowledges his existence and doesn't run whenever he tries to talk to her, but she's still very short with him. We are all just hoping and praying that this doesn't damage her for the feast of her life. So yeah, that's all for the update. I'm sorry it's not a 100% happy ending, but I'm hoping to be back in the fall with a new and happy ending. NTA. There is a line between teaching a kid about consent and letting a toddler set all rules and call the shots. Thing is, it sounds more like your sister is using the kid to call the shots too. NTA, you didn't lead your sister on. You told her you would do it if your niece said yes, and she agreed to that condition. Your niece said no, so your sister has no right to be pissed off at anyone but herself over this. My husband and I have been together for 7 years, married for 5. He has a son and a daughter from his previous marriage, 18 and 13, and we have a 4-year-old daughter together. Although we have some shared expenses, for the most part, we keep our finances separate. Custody is shared 50-50 between my husband and his ex regarding the older kids. Long story short, my oldest stepson graduated a couple of weeks ago. He's only ever wanted to go to one school, which happens to be a very specialized and hence very expensive university out of state. He applied, was accepted, and got a decent but not phenomenal scholarship from the school itself. Meanwhile, my husband has been encouraging him to look into additional scholarships and potential ROTC, or Air National Guard, to help with the remainder of expenses. My husband's company went under a couple of years ago and he is just beginning to recover financially, so paying out of pocket for his son's tuition is simply not an option. Unfortunately for stepson, his focus here lately has been on his new girlfriend and not his academics and scholarships. And unfortunately, he's decided his dad is an idiot when it comes to scholarships and military service and that he'll figure it out on his own. All fine and good, except for the fact that he hasn't figured it out on his own. And sometimes here in the next several months, the university he wants to attend is asking for roughly $25,000 in tuition money. After dodging financial conversations and scholarship conversations with my husband for the past 6 or 7 months, he finally came out and asked his dad how he was going to be paying for the tuition because the school is starting to ask for deposits, etc. Husband broke it to him that there is no college fund set aside. Apparently, Biomom has been telling him there was. I have no idea where she got that idea. Now, the whole family is up in arms that my stepson may not be able to go to the school of his choice. Now it's come up that our 4-year-old has a college fund and investment account. Because on my computer, there's literally a folder on the desktop that has the investment links and logins and paperwork organized. Right now, it has about $8,000 in it. All of it from me personally depositing money and all of the little cash gifts my daughter receives for Christmas and birthdays, etc. Because of how badly this whole tuition and university situation has exploded, my husband now thinks we should pay for my stepson's stuff with my daughter's money, and he will pay me back. The problem is, I've already given my husband a pile of money for the other things, and I've never gotten it back, so I said no. Am I the a-hole for ruining my stepson's university opportunity? Everyone else seems to think so, but I seem to think that this should have been talked about and dealt with a long time ago. NTA, protect that money at all costs. Change whatever passwords you need to. Call the bank and ensure that you're the only one who can access it.